I find I hesitate to upload these videos because they're so freaking long. But that said, if you're someone who enjoys learning about map movement in Halo 5, regardless of skill level, I guarantee you this is the most comprehensive overview you'll find of the map Empire on the internet. Watch even 15 minutes of this, and I'm pretty sure you'll learn something new. There's a ton of great info here. Also note that, as usual, these map breakdowns are done live on Twitch at twitch.tv/theshyway. I've linked that below. They're a lot of fun. It's just one live session, and it's even more fun if you can join me live in the chat as we talk about jumps and strategies. And the best way to do that is to join me for the next one. The next map will be Fathom, which should have a ton of great jumps to look at. I'll be looking at this on Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, once again on twitch.tv/theshyway. Hopefully you can tune in. But until then, I guess go ahead and grab a snack and enjoy today's 45-minute map breakdown. And remember, if you guys like this content, you want to see more, make sure to hit subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you once again for joining me for the Empire map breakdown. I know it's been so long since I've broken down any maps in this game, but you guys are patient and you're here for the live stream, so thank you so much, guys, for joining me for this. If you are watching on YouTube, welcome, YouTube viewers. We're going to be breaking down every single jump that I can think of on Empire. I'm going to go through everything I know. I'm going to go through starting strats, routes, like some nade throw stuff, whatever comes to mind. I'm going to try to keep it organized. I'll try to keep like to specific sections of the map. We'll see how it goes. This map is pretty much 100% symmetrical, so whatever we do on blue side will probably be almost exactly the same on red side. I encourage you guys in chat to contribute if there's a jump that I don't know of or I missed. Like there's a couple jumps on this map, like off the sides outside, like there's an invisible blocker. We'll get there. Anyway, whatever you guys find that I don't know, I'd be happy if you can add that to the discussion. But let's get into it. We'll start right here. So blue base, all this stuff, crouch, jump, height, really basic stuff, right? This you can clamber up to. Good to stand on here because you're contributing to the capture and you're avoiding nades at the same time. You can shoot the barrel, get rid of that. Nobody likes the barrel. From here, you can jump, stabilize, grab the window, or you can just straight up like clamber this and thrust, like jump thrust, grab window, which is a really good way to just kind of get out of this space and maneuver around. That's why it's nice to have the pedestal here. You can work with that. You can crouch jump to get to the window as well. I clambered it, but of course this is all crouch jump height, right? Get up, nice easy ways to get there. Something else that I do is I'll occasionally spring jump thrust off of it. It's not really necessary, but it gives you like a higher arc. Coming out. We're going to be working on our spring jumps a lot today. So technically speaking, if you're a nutcase, you could throw a nade down. This is stuff that I've been thinking of in like other maps like Plaza, like nade clambering and using a spring jump to hit a clamber angle from higher, so I have the freedom to throw a nade downward, which is just over the top craziness. But if you like really know a player's going to be top tower, I can like bank a tower pre-nade as I'm clambering out of a spring thrust. Already getting into the crazy stuff. Callus, how you doing, buddy? This also is a crouch jump. You just got to be close to it. You got to be careful with it. It's just like it's perfectly at crouch jump height. So what I typically do is I typically spring jump to get up here, right? That'll get you up from far away. Of course, you can sprint, you can stabilize jump, you can super jump up, you can do a lot of different things to get up there, but pretty standard. Don't think you can clamber or interact. Oh, you can clamber this. I don't know why you would ever want to clamber this, but you can stand on this. It's not contributing to the capture. It's not really a good place to be, so I wouldn't really focus on it. This staircase, useful for the slide launch, right? So I've talked about this many times on YouTube. You just time a slide on a downward ramp at the top sweet spot. You hit that timing good, or you get a good time on the slide. Eldon with the follow, thank you, man, welcome. And you will launch yourself forward. For a starting strat, like if you happen to spawn here, I don't know if it's better to just, it might just be better to thrust slide straight through the base, because that gets you all the way across with the same amount of time. But if you don't want to burn your thrust, there are instances where it makes sense to just time a nice sweet spot slide and launch yourself forward, save that thrust so you can use the thrust for a fight on the bend. So something useful to consider. Random computer clamber, what about it? For sitting on this computer, yeah, it is kind of an awkward place, like, to be standing, because it's still capturing, which is great, right? And if somebody's throwing nades, you can kind of avoid them, and you can take a challenge off of here or whatever. So you can be kind of tricky there, unless you're talking about this. Like, if this is some sort of a computer, like maybe somebody doesn't expect you to stand here either. You're so vulnerable to so many angles, right? Something that players will do instead is they'll sit and crouch behind it, like something like that. And then that might be sneakier, because you can do it the other side too, and this legitimately like covers, like if somebody's standing on plat, they can't see you hiding here. So this is actually kind of sneaky, but I don't really mess with it. We need all these jumps. Why would I need these jumps when I can just sprint in circles around the map? That's exactly it. Whatever you just said there, that sounds like the right thing to do. You do that. This staircase right here, you can slide upwards and spring jump off of it. These are like, I'm just, dot the I's, cross the T's here. I'm being thorough, but you can slide and then spring jump and spring thrust, like connect it. So remember how I said that if you slide at the top of a downward ramp like that, your feet briefly leave the floor, you can land and crouch and then spring jump immediately. So if you happen to be making this connection like that, you can slide spring thrust and clear yourself into the window, no clamber necessary. Very like high level, over the top type of movement strategy. It's just possible is what I'm saying. You can do it. If you're nuts, maybe you can find a way to weave it into your gameplay. This ramp, of course, you can slide down the other way and get a boost, but there's a wall in the way that's going to throw you off. So not really that useful. The ramp on the outside is more useful, but let's just make sure we've got all this kind of covered here. You can jump to this button. From this button, you can jump clamber directly up, so you don't need to go all the way up to here. If you don't want to commit yourself to that angle, you can jump, land on the button, jump, hold, crouch, get up to the window directly like that. There is that little thing in the way, which is kind of annoying. You want to be really careful clambering these things on both Eden and Empire. This side, this fucking nuisance of a whatever this clamber ledge is. Be careful clambering these, because there are times where you'll clamber it and it'll throw you over to the other side. You don't actually get up. I don't really know how to recreate it, but I'm sure this has happened to you before. It's really annoying little clamber ledge, so just be aware of that. This here you can spring jump off of and clamber directly up off the box. So instead of taking that ledge once again, you can go for this box and spring jump and then clamber up, which is kind of cool. I think a crouch jump... Oh, crouch jump works as well, so don't even bother to spring jump. Literally just stand on the box, crouch jump. That's actually really cool. Really convenient. David Burrow Cow with the follow. Thank you, man. Welcome. Has this ever happened to you? Has what happened to you? This little ledge here? All the time, dude. So yeah, crouch jump. Not too many times where you're going to be in this corner, though, just because it's kind of a vulnerable place to be, but cool to know that you can do that. Something that I do all the time off of my spawn is a super jump to get up to this area. You got to place it really well.
The year of Halo. Get
Garrett with the sub. Welcome back to the way, Garrett. Your favorite map? You're trolling, Garrett. Oh, that's the troll face, right? He's lying. This is not his favorite map. Garrett hates this map. Okay, yeah, so if you super jump, sprint, thrust, slide, jump, stabilize, hold, crouch, you can get right up here without a clamber, which is a really useful connection, because the moment you hit the floor, you can sprint again, slide, connect this, do a slide launch, get over the OS, which we'll talk about. This is like something that I've been working on as a starting strat is a couple things. Like I was thinking, what's the fastest strat to the OS? And now that I know about the slide launch, I think this might be one of the fastest strats. Like, let's say you spawn here, you super jump, sprint when you hit the floor, slide, sprint, and then slide launch, and that's the timing is so tough. But it would save your thrust and launch you to the platform, and then you could grab OS and thrust away, which is really, really sick, and we'll look at that in a second. The other thing I was thinking off spawn is you could technically, like, go this way, and then run across here, thrust, slide, jump, land, slide launch. Like, that was fast, right? And I'm on the OS platform, and I've saved my thrust, my second thrust. So the moment I grab OS, I can thrust away and stay alive, which is like, if you're coming at it that quickly, you can throw people off, even if they're ready for a fight. You know what I mean? Like, that's a fast route. Love this map when ARs... You're kidding me, Basement. All right, like, with ARs and ground pound on this map, it was terrible. When you're up on top mid in the this stronghold right here, and people are just doing this to you in the stronghold to break the stronghold point. Oh my god, are you kidding me? HCS 2016, that was an actual like strategy. Okay. So yeah, that kind of covers majority of you know, what you'd be doing in blue base. The other super jump, like I said, is you just kind of come here and you clear that, grab the plasma nades, right? As far as the plat over here, of course you can, you know, clamber, you can crouch jump up to here. I don't know if there's a jump around here. I think Eluculent might have told me there's something weird, some sort of a jump around here. Could take OS and jump around the back. Yeah, we'll talk about that too, Luke. There's the back area jump. But yeah, you can stand on these. I don't know if you could stand back here. I don't spend a lot of time around here. This here is a crouch jump. Like a nice clean crouch jump will get you up. But if you do spawn here, what I typically do is sprint and then jump, stabilize, hold crouch really quickly off my spawn. Sprint, jump, stabilize, and hold crouch and get right off there without a clamber. That puts you right into the fight where you can toss nades in the bottom mid. Always remember that, like, once you do this clamber, I mean, this is like some basic stuff. If you have a secondary weapon, toss nades YY so that you can sprint immediately. Sprint, thrust, slide, clear it immediately, right? So you can animation cancel with the Y button if you have a secondary weapon. So you can even, like, grab the DMR as you kind of fly by here. Throw a nade, press Y button, sprint immediately, and then clear it. So it's little things that you can do to move quickly and apply pressure at the same time, because there's a lot of situations where you're going to want to break this stronghold and throw a nade at it, but also move up and push up on it at the same time. So just remember the little YY animation cancel, classic. Yeah, once you're over here, this is all crouch jump height. Obviously very useful. A lot of people know this stuff. This is all basic stuff. Right, crouch jump height. This is crouch jump height as well. You just got to be really precise with the crouch jump. This is a really good place to do a scale, like a vertical scaling jump backwards. You got to be very careful. You don't really need to tap back very far. Like, I'm not pegging the left stick backwards when I scale this. I'm always holding jump, or I'm always holding crouch and the jump button so I can clamber it. But this I do a lot. I nade clamber into the base, and then immediately after throwing the nade, I jump backwards, and then I challenge from the top. Right, so you can combine all this together. You cut your nade animation with the clamber and then jump backwards. You can clamber challenge, but what's better is if you do a regular crouch jump challenge for the fight after. You just got to be careful, because if you're pressing your body against the wall here and you jump, notice how I bump myself and I fly out backwards. You do not want that to happen. So you have to clamber it, jump backwards, clamber, and then position yourself carefully so you don't bump the wall, and then crouch jump over to this ledge. Once you're up here, you can fire shots in. You can drop back clamber on this as well, right? Which is pretty annoying. You can do this shit back and forth, which, like, I kind of do. I mean, I don't do this. This is just for fun. But I use both sides of this. Like, I drop back on both sides of this ledge. This is very, very useful. You can even shimmy while you do it. This is like a technique that you'd have to grind out. Remember, I'm holding crouch when I do this. So I clamber up, I keep crouch held down, and drop, and then reclamber. I can shimmy my way all the way to the other side of the ledge if I want to. It's pretty nutty. Of course, you want to be able to shoot in between every clamber. At least one shot. Difference between crouch jumping and spring jumping. Huge difference, right? Standard crouch jump. I mean, it's hard to just show it without jumping into, like, machinima mode, but you just jump, hold, crouch. Spring jump is significantly higher, right? If I do a crouch jump, I can't get up here, right? I'm trying to crouch jump. I can't reach it. I would have to clamber to do this, right? I clamber, I can get up. But if I spring jump, I don't need to clamber. I can clear the entire thing. I'm spring jumping and holding crouch as well, so I get the extra advantage of my legs popping up, bring my legs up, so it's even more height. Think of a spring jump as a crouch jump on top of a crouch jump. That's really good, yeah. That's basically what it is, Eluculent. It's a crouch jump on top of a crouch jump. And then the short hop, which is the opposite, is like, I don't know what you want to call that, but it's like doing a short jump. I don't know, a short jump on a short, I don't know what it is. It's the short hop is the opposite, though, where you, like, barely leave the floor. And it's more useful in H2A than I'd say in H5, because there's so many other things you could do in H5 to get a low jump. Like, I can do a long slide in H5 and then do a late jump, low clamber, get around this ledge, jump out. There's so much you could do to jump low in H5. Have you covered the spring jump stabilize to the top mid pillars? Haven't just yet, but they are useful. We'll get there for sure. This whole map is pretty much spring jump height, Fireboy, which is really great. So this area, though, as well, if you're here, remember, this is a slide launch option also. Like, if you happen to spawn here, you can just sprint. Timing is kind of tough for this stuff, but if you get the timing down, that's kind of useful, right? That little boost without using your thrust, especially if you're pushing up on camo, and you want to contest camo and save the thrust at the same time, you know, throw a nade. This is a decent nade clamber spot as well. If I have frags, I could, this is a terrible nade there, but I can bounce a frag off the side and send it over to the ramp, the opposite ramp on security, without having to waste time, right? You're cutting the nade animation with the clamber rather than clambering up and then nading. So it's good to do those things together. But yeah, so this little launch is useful, and it's even more useful if you consider it this way as well. Fall on it, and then slide launch, which is really sick. So if you do happen to be coming out of blue base, and instead of just kind of immediately taking a cut to the left like this, you just go straight and then fall and launch yourself forward. So something that you'll have to practice, but you're aiming for the bottom portion of the ramp. You want to land on it, time a slide. The moment you hit the floor, you'll launch forward. But yeah, little thing that you can try. You can also stand on the outside here. I don't really do this too much. I do it more in Eden than I do in Empire, but you could do it. I don't really think there's anything else to worry about here. This is not interactable. You can stand on that and jump from here to here, right? You can stand on this and then jump over there, but whatever. Not really, you're not going to spend a lot of time here. This pole, by the way, this is such a useful pole. This thing is amazing. For any direction. Like, you should always think about this and whether or not you can use this when you're moving around the map. So like, if you're challenging somebody on the elbow here, you should be thinking about this to get into the window, because if you jump onto this and then do a regular jump, no crouch necessary, you perfectly go into the window. So this is like, it's an excellent escape route. You can jump backwards. You don't have to think about your positioning, because like, you should know that if you're standing here, just hold backwards and jump, no crouch whatsoever, you'll very cleanly fall into the window. So just always remember this pole. 157913 with the follow. Thank you, man. Welcome. And it doesn't even really matter like what side you're jumping off of. There's something you can do with it from every little quadrant on here. Like from here, if I jump on this and then jump thrust backwards, I can, like, it's like a diagonal backwards. I can clamber top mid like immediately. Or if I'm like in my movement, I'm trying to get the tower, I can sprint, jump off of it, land on here, and then crouch and get up the tower. So this thing is literally so clutch. Is that Atita ga eating boil? I'm sorry. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. I butchered that. I don't know what that was, but welcome. You can tell me what I should call you. But yeah, it's most useful for getting into the window of this base. It's just nice and clean, especially because you'll see people like, somebody might be challenging you from security. You back down, you get up here, and then avoid nades, get into the window at the same time. You can shoot the entire time you do it, so sick. Hi, Beagle with the follow. Thank you, man. Welcome. You're sprinting, do a short hop. People nade YY sprint after. You can maintain sprint speed through a nade. Eluculent, whatever you just told me got me kind of, turn me on just a little bit. No, I'm kidding. You got to show me, Eluculent. That sounds really cool. Being able to maintain sprint speed through a nade throw actually sounds really, really sick. So show me what you're talking about. That's like some next level tech right there. Full map breakdown 3 years ago at H5 meta would have been so different. Yeah, but 3 years ago I didn't know any of this stuff though. Let's be honest. I learned this stuff. I really learned this stuff like 2018. Like beginning of 2018 was when I was like watching Shotzi Frosty, like really clued into it all, right? Okay, so yeah, that pole is useful. Regardless of where you're jumping off of it, there's something you can do like from all angles. This, like now that we're in the front of the base here, this here is stabilized jump height. It's spring jump height. It's like, you know, a lot of different jumps. You can get up. You just want to clamber the side of it. But spring jumping is so useful to get up here. It's just a nice, clean connection. So if you can remember to jump and connect to spring jump, just to that specific corner, then you'll clamber up pretty easily. If you don't want to clamber on that corner, you can super jump directly up. It's tight timing, right? Because you got to go, you don't have a lot of a runway to work with. You have a short runway. So you can super jump, grab it, or you can spring jump, stabilize, and go directly up. Sorry, spring thrust and go directly up. I guess you do have to stabilize. Stabilize, jump that without momentum? Yes, I believe you can. So you can just walk into it, walk, stabilize. You should just be able to walk, stabilize, jump. Maybe not, but I always sprint. So something that you should always get, like, keep in mind, if you're going to do a stabilize jump, you might as well do a sprint stabilize jump, like tap sprint a fraction of a second before you jump and stabilize, because you get slightly more height and you make the same amount of noise. You still appear on radar, right? So, because yeah, if you do that at a standstill, oh, it's still possible. It's just really tough. It's just like really tight. Yeah, you can still do it. It's just much harder. But that's why you always want to try to tap sprint for like a fraction of a second before you do a stabilized jump. Frosty used to spend like 2 hours running around a map. Yeah, Frosty, Shotzi, not only do they spend time running around the map, they fight ghosts, if that makes sense. They fight in, like, I've watched Shotzi run around a map. He fights invisible battles. So he pretends that somebody's on top tower and he's in a fight with that person. He's like shooting, taking battles, like pretending there's a guy here and how he would take that fight, or like he's placing his reticle perfectly. So he's practicing centering, he's practicing movement, and just pretending he's engaging in battles as he moves along the map, which I think is really helpful. Like, if you guys can learn to love the process of jumping around maps and fighting ghosts, let's say, just, you know, take like firing shots, placing your reticle perfectly as you do all these maneuvers, then when you actually play the game, it'll come to you just seamlessly. You'll start to do it naturally. Spring jump from right underneath without having to leave the cover. Yes. You want to be able to get up. Yeah, so you want to spring jump without doing it. Yeah, instead of a stabilized jump, just spring jump straight up. So like while you're hiding there, you could do it with a spring jump. Yeah, you could do the cheap method too. You could scoreboard it, right? But you could also roof bounce. Like, look at that. Notice how there's a little roof there, so I can knock my head down to the floor quicker. Like, this is like some over the top. Like, I never find myself shoved in this corner for too long. Usually, what I do is I'm just finding a different route, right? Like that, like to get up into the window. Instead of going window, I just take a different route with the spring jump. You doing that? Yeah, that works. Fourth missing piece to improvement is conceptual work. Yeah, exactly. Like on top of watching your gameplay, learning about the macro, like talking to other people, thinking about it, you gotta like live and breathe Halo basically. But you can also jump around the maps and like, you know, put yourself in different types of situations that you'd imagine that you'd be in a no pressure environment. 1v1s are helpful for that as well. Like 1v1s are a low pressure. You can start up your own 1v1 custom game and you can like practice crazy jumps and reticle placement, take battles. You can do that like whenever. You can just do an open custom lobby and people will join. Really good practice. Okay, so that covers like all this area here, right? We can reach that with a super jump, spring thrust, stabilize, you can get up there, hold crouch. This right here is spring jump height as well. You can super jump over it also. So if you're coming into it with a lot of momentum, you can use a spring jump to get directly over it cleanly, which is nice. Usually what I do is I super jump. Because this is like, I'm making a mad dash outside to get the OS, let's say. Like, OS is coming up. All right, let's get there quick. Super jump. And then the moment you hit the floor, you're going to sprint and keep moving forward, right? So you can connect that together. Same with this right here. If you do a super jump, you can grab it immediately, right? So you thrust, slide, stabilize, grab it, get right up there, right? So you can do a lot. You can even just like, if you don't want to clamber, you can do that type of connection, which is really cool as well. So land on it sideways and then crouch jump up. So there's always, that's the beauty of the mechanics in this game, is there's always like a way to do it without the clamber animation. Like depending on the situation, depending on what you predict is going to be over here, there's always like fucking 4 or 5 different ways to navigate this situation, right? So really, really cool. Yeah, so other stuff here would just be this right here. So like I think Fireboy was saying it, this is all spring jump height, right? I can spring thrust to get directly up to top mid. I can do a regular spring jump from the floor. It's tough to do. You want to have some momentum, but you can grab it like without even stabilizing or anything. Like that. I can directly go up to top mid from the floor. So technically speaking, this would be really hard to pull off. But if you're escaping somebody who's in pit, you can jump, perfectly land on the floor here, and then spring jump and clamber and get right up to top mid directly, which is like a hell of a connection to pull off, and you'd have to have really precise movement. If you scoreboard spring jump it, though, it might not be so bad, right? But you'd be like wrapping the corner, spring jump at the same time, and somehow grab the top to top mid to escape a fight. Which, yeah, like I don't really practice this. I never go for this. I can stabilize. If I stabilize, it'll ensure I get up there, but stabilizing makes noise. It appears on the radar, right? So there are other risks associated with that. Easy scoreboard, yeah. You're to start doing that? Yeah, it's a good connection. It's just, it's tough because it's at like the maximum height that your spring jump can reach. So you really got to be careful. Like, I would say prioritize clambering this ledge rather than there, if that makes sense. Like, I find it's more successful towards that side of the ledge. This I go for all the time, though. Jumping in here, right? This little cubby. Like, you can jump land in here, and then what you want to do is shimmy until your Spartan's standing. Notice how I can, like, move until I'm standing for a brief period? So the moment you see your Spartan stand, you want to jump. And then you can get up. And then your head won't bump anything. Because if you try to jump otherwise, your head will bump the inside. So you move, shimmy forward until you feel your Spartan stand. And then you jump immediately, get up to top mid. You can actually, like, what I do is I slide jump into it. Jesus. I slide jump and then hold crouch. And then walk forward and jump up. It's a weird jump. And normally I hit it consistently. There you go. You get right up. You just got to be really careful when you're doing this as well. Like, you got to know what's on the other side of that clamber, right? Like, you got to be ready to look red plat the moment that you come up, ready to look red BR, like, take whatever kind of a fight. And you don't want to fall off immediately afterwards as well. So it's a hell of a little skill jump, but if you can get it down, it's, like, really useful. For sure. That one as well. And even just, like I said, just off this pole, if you want to go directly up, you can, oops, land on this, jump thrust. Pretty quick connection, and way easier than all the other methods. You just jump off of it. As far as these ramps go, you can launch off this ramp. I wouldn't really advise it, though. It's not a very good launch. And most of the time when you're pushing down here, you got to be ready for a fight early on. So you don't want to fly across here, because usually there's somebody, like, in the stronghold. What you should be doing is you can bank a nade. If it's a frag, it'll perfectly land in the stronghold. Let me just kill myself, actually. Get my nades back. Yeah, so you can, like, kind of slide in, toss a frag, and have it bounce back in your face. If you hit that right, it'll go right into the stronghold. It's pretty useful, just because you can throw the nade before you get into the fight. And now you're into the fight, ready to shoot, and your nade's already gone in and done the damage. So something to think about. Yeah, and approaching the battle from here as well. You can slide spring jump, maybe? I wouldn't really mess with that, but there's so many little things that you could do that don't really, you know, bear fruit as well. This area is super useful, though. So I showed this in a clip recently, in a 2v2 clip, where you can jump off of this, and then land on this, and then go all the way around in a circle. This little ledge here, it's crouch jump height. So you crouch jump, land on it, and then you can land on this. When you're jumping off of these ledges, it's the same type of tactic I talked about on Plaza, where I said that you want to wait before you jump so that you don't fly out uncontrolled. Like, if you wait a second until your feet make impact with this bar, what I'm actually jumping off of, by the way, is this. So it's not the bar above, it's this black thing. Like, you can tell, because if you try to walk out, I think it's the black thing. Maybe I'm tripping, but I'm pretty sure it's not the bar. It's like this little thing right here. Because if you go too far, you fall off of it. Either way, if you're jumping off of it, if you jump too early, like if I jump the instant my feet touch it, then you'll fly out. Like, see how I flew out to the right? So you want to wait a second for your Spartan's feet to connect with it if you want to stay on it, basically, without burning your thrust, like that, right? So I can just keep jumping on it indefinitely if I wait patiently to, like, make contact. Otherwise, if I don't jump, I'm going to fall. Of course, this is such a small ledge. So this is, it's like sign tech, basically. So, like, any signs or, like, little ledges like this, and signs in Plaza, they all work the same. You just got to wait until your feet make contact and then jump. You can keep jumping on it, which is useful if somebody doesn't know you're there. You know, they can walk by, you can backsmack them, whatever. You can also go this way. You can jump onto this little, crouch jump onto this, and then jump backwards like that. So, like, if you're trying to challenge here, maybe, you could, like, maybe make a connection like that to get around. But what I usually do is from the fan, I just sprint, slide jump, and I just land on it and jump off of it, which is honestly, like, really easy to connect. And it's just a good way to move around the map, because it avoids nades, right? Like, rather than if I was to do this and challenge tower this way, which is acceptable, of course you're going to want to challenge tower like this sometimes as well. It's just, it's easy for somebody to bank a nade and have it land right where you're standing, as opposed to if I really want to quickly change my lane on the map and be effective at the same time and avoid nades, I can sprint, slide jump, land on this, and keep moving. If I do it right, I don't need to burn a thrust as well. I can get directly to the BR, right? In, like, one sequence. You could do it backwards also, so pretty cool. Eluculent, chime in whenever you got a chance. Let me know how to get under here. Apparently there's a jump, like, under here somewhere. There's an invisible blocker, which could be useful. I've never tried it, so I have no idea what I have to do that. This is useful off of spawn, so if you're trying to contest OS, this is a useful grenade you can throw. You bank it. Hopefully that worked. Not quite. You're basically trying to throw it here. Like somewhere in this area. And if it works, then it's going to land on the fan. That was a little too far. You got some leeway with it. but it's useful when you're pushing up on the OS because people who typically are challenging OS stand on the fan first, and they'll just sit here and cover and wait for you to do something, right? So if you throw a nice precise nade as you're moving up, you can land it like right on the platform. Still too deep. You can get it like right, oops, you can get it right there. Like have it blow up like right on the top of the platform if you do it right. Did you cover the spring jump nade top mid? I didn't because it's like brutal to do. I've never tried it. That was way better, right? So maybe it's also where you're throwing it from as well. Like if you can throw it early on, like that might not work, but we'll see. Yeah, like not bad, right? A little far. Something to consider though, because you throw it way early on, you don't have to worry about any fights when you do that, and then you can come up and challenge. As far as the OS itself, these ramps you can slide on. This is useful in Eden, not so useful in Empire because the turbine's in the way. This thing's going to bump you, but if you time a slide on the downward ramp, you can throw yourself around this area. Like I said, not too useful here. You can clamber up on these. You can jump on all of this, right? You can jump around back. This is really popular. The moment you grab OS, just jump out here. You got 10 seconds, of course, but you can jump thrust back into the map afterwards. So a lot of people know this stuff. This is not new information. But yeah, this whole area is clamberable, and if you fall, you die. Obviously, something to consider. This slide that I was doing earlier, very useful, right? So you sprint, you want to time the slide. It's really tough to do, but if you could master it, really useful. You have to time the slide like kind of like here as you're sprinting down, and you have to do it on a diagonal, like slide jump on a diagonal. If you hit it perfect, then you'll fly. Like that's, you can do better. You can land directly on the platform, no clamber. It's just tough. It works on both sides as well. But something to consider, because this is arguably one of the most useful little slide launch connections in the game, I'd say. Come on. I'd say full sprint speed. Like if you wait until you got full sprint speed, you'll have better success here. Love the sneaky slides, yeah. Honestly, like I've been working on it, and there are times when I pull it off, and you can get an outplay because of it, right? Because if you really get that launch, you're saving your thrust. It's just like, it's so great. You can still contribute to a fight. You can thrust to escape with the OS or whatever you got to do. I think that's like pretty much everything for this kind of area, right? So it's symmetrical, so the same type of thing would take place here. So everything I just said as far as like slide jumping out, landing on this thing, jumping all the way around in like circles in this area, jumping off of this, right? Like you could actually stand up on here as well. You got to be really careful. It's tough to do, but you want to like crouch jump and like release crouch right as you're landing on it, and then you can stand on it. I don't really know why you'd want to stand on it for a very long time, but like that, right? And I can just sit here and I can kind of like shimmy and then get around, which might be tricky, but it's kind of tough to get up. Something to consider, though. Cool to connect a thrust with the launch slide, yeah. If you like do a thrust later afterwards. Safe to assume this game has improved your parkour skills tremendously. Yeah, if I interact with my home city now, if I just kind of run around in the city, I can slide down staircases and clamber up on buildings and throw people off. Yeah. Something I didn't consider on the bases here. This I do often. So if I'm trying to escape this area, like let's say somebody's in red, they're in the window, whatever. What I'll do is I'll wrap and low clamber this ledge. You can jump around, which I just did, but if you crouch and do like a quick double tap clamber like that, you can very quickly like wrap yourself around this area. Right, so there's situations where I'll be like running, somebody's in red base, I'll wrap around like that and then come around and challenge them. Really, really quick, really efficient, rather than like trying to, I mean, this actually is pretty good too. I don't know why I don't just do a regular jump, to be honest, but something about like when you're frantically trying to escape from somebody and be really quick and trying to hit like a precise jump without the clamber, you can mess it up, but you can very quickly just like hug the wall, and just clamber and get around, which I do. You can spring thrust to the CN Tower from Toronto Harbor spawn, from the spawn point. Damn, dude. It's nuts. Okay. This is one thing that's exclusive to Red Base that I didn't really even know about until recently, is you can crouch jump up here.
Area taken. Got everything locked down.
If I don't suck at Halo. Looks like I might. Oh, there we go. So precise crouch jump will actually sit you up on top of this monitor. Would you ever want to do this? I don't know. Does it contribute to the red capture? I'm not even sure. You might actually still be able to cap. That would be pretty sick. There's no way for me to figure it out now, though, now that I've capped the base. But something to try, maybe. If you do a nice, precise crouch jump, you'll sit in here, and people aren't going to expect you to be up here immediately, so you definitely get first shot. Sov, what's up, dude? But that's the only real exclusive thing that I know of for red base. Right? I mean, there's like this little stuff on the wall. I was trying to like maybe spring thrust off of it and get up there that way, but if you can do it, it's very hard to do. So not really advised. But yeah, that's kind of cool. Of course, you got this area here. It all connects. You can drop back on that. Once again, this is all spring jump height. Doesn't matter where you're coming from. Like, even up there. Actually, maybe not up there. Yeah, not up there. One thing that's cool about this, when I was talking about getting cleanly into the window, if you jump off of this ledge, like crouch jump off of it, you can clamber directly up to the top of the window as well. So not only do you go inside, you can, you have choices basically. You can do this also, which I forgot about. Just navigating this area as well, something else I missed is, of course, this is crouch jump height. Like a nice crouch jump will get you here, so you can connect these without a clamber. Something else I'll do is I'll sprint, thrust, slide, land on this, and then crouch jump up like that, right? Or you can do a stabilized jump, you can sprint, slide jump, stabilize, land on it. You don't have to hold the stabilizer very long. You can just very seamlessly connect your movement together, right? Same with these things right here. These are all like stabilized jump, spring jump height. So if you're like spawning here, what I do is I super jump, stabilize, land on this. I can throw a nade at the same time maybe. And this is good for just immediately like applying pressure to pit. Just like that, right? So little things that you can do. That one you can super jump to as well, but I don't know why you'd ever want to do that one, but both of these guys off your spawn, just good ways to get up. Of course, once you're up on this ledge, you can choose. Do you want to go to top tower? You want to go to mid? Whatever. So you got options. Right off of spawn here, you can also super jump this way, directly clamber up. You can combine it with like a nade probably as well, but it'd be a little risky. Like roof bounce a nade or something? I don't know. Like as you clamber. Damn. Yeah, not very useful. Maybe if you had some sort of legendary nade placement or something, but that's not the best nade clamber. Push. Okay, so as far as this camo area, I mean, crouch jump will get you over here, obviously. One thing that people don't know very much about is the spring jump locations on the walls here. So you can spring jump, land on the wall. I don't know how useful this is. Like maybe if somebody's coming up from underneath, they don't expect you to be here, they can walk underneath, maybe you can get a back smack. You can do it over here as well, so like all of these outer ledges, so I can like sit on the outside of this, or I can like shimmy to the edge and then stand. It'll push me into a stand, and then from there I can kind of like get a peek on on the window, but I don't think it saves me from barrel damage. Like I'm pretty sure I still die if you blow up the barrels, so it's like not super useful. You get kills from that ledge? What, this one up here? This side, like both these ledges, I'd say are more useful than the ones right beside camo. Like right there, and they're not that hard to get into, just a quick spring jump. But these ones aren't accessible, right? Even though they look like they are, they're all blocked, unfortunately. Right? Can't get at them. Jump from T1 to T3? Yeah, there's a few jumps from T1 to T3. You could probably, without even... You can directly go up, right? Most of this map you can just super jump and reach without even like really worrying about. The reason why I don't do that is because it's better to just challenge it from below, like crouch jump challenge it instead, right? You can also do what I showed in that video, which I don't do this often either, but you can thrust like launch off this. You'd want to sprint and then jump with sprint maintain forward and time a thrust and then hold jump and you'll launch off of it, but it's kind of finicky. Maybe there's somebody who could do it better than me. I haven't given a lot of time to this, but there you go. And then you clamber right up to top tower, which could be really useful if you want to get camo like super quick. If you happen to be in pit, you just captured pit, and you're like, all right, just like really quickly change lanes. You know? What's also really cool though is you can just spring jump off of it and then clamber directly up to top mid, which I know a lot of players do now. Is they'll just jump off this, spring jump, clamber up. And then from there, they can go to top tower, wherever they want to go, right? This ledge, this is similar to the ledge on Empire. So there's like the little wall on Empire underneath the catwalk. It's the exact same thing. You can spring jump and reach it, and then jump off of it to get up to top tower. I just don't know. Like, it's not that useful, I think, personally, because it's kind of hard to position a jump to get here, even though it does work. Like, it's also ambiguous as to whether or not, like this area looks like you can jump on, but you can't jump on this portion of it, right? Like, I can't stand on that for some reason. I can only stand on the outer edge of both sides. So you have to, like, specifically line the jump up so you're, like, directly under Tower 3, which is, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I find it, like, kind of a cumbersome jump to go for. What might be cool is if you did some, like, some kind of, like, crazy thing like that, maybe. You know, like, get some sort of, like, connection off the wall. Because you're a nutcase. Like, I don't know. It's kind of an obscure one. Like, I don't see people go for this, but it's something that you can do. Alternatively, you can go here. I was thinking, like, maybe you could do it from underneath. Like, maybe that would make it useful if you did, like, a jump thrust and, like, somehow landed on it, jumped off it, get up to top tower. But I don't know. I'm sure there's other crazy ways to get up to tower. You know, like, maybe you could do, like, a crazy... Imagine, like, a momentum spring jump and then turn around, clamber it immediately. Who knows? You can just stabilize? Like, to get up that? I don't know. Maybe, probably. I don't mess with it. I don't mess with that one too much. This ramp here is useful for for launching off of. If you want to get the camo. Useful for things like twos as well. You have to have good timing. The timing is, like, kind of lower than you think it might be. Like, I feel like the timing that you're sliding is, like, kind of, like, at the midpoint of the ramp, or, like, lower than that even. Because if you do too, like, see how I'm tripping? If I do too early, I trip. So I'm pressing it too early in both those times. But that was good. The issue is it throws you into the wall, so you might have to burn your thrust to fly into camo, or you can just let yourself hit the wall, grab camo. That's most of the map, guys. This here is spring jump height. What I'll do sometimes is, if I'm on top tower, I'll drop and then land and spring jump to, like, connect, land, spring jump, like that. The biggest thing, though, is if you're going to move that fast on the map, your reticle placement needs to be good, right? So you got to be ready for a fight when you do this. So just make sure that if you're moving that quickly, you're ready for whatever's next on the outside of the window. But that's the only scenario where I would think it makes sense to spring jump there, because otherwise, like, you can, like, nade clamber it. You can do other things, right? But that's something you can do. All these ramps can be, you can slide on all these ramps, right? Kind of hard to find scenarios where you might want to, but just something just to cover everything on the map, right? This, like, sliding down this one will send you into the wall. Which, like, maybe if you want to hide here, I don't know. Sliding down this one will send you over to the base, which you can then connect into, like, a spring jump to get right up into the window, but you kind of have to go out of your way, which is annoying. Like, if I want to properly slide on this, I gotta, like, take extra time to, like, turn my sprint around, you know? So, not super useful. But something to keep in mind, like, if you ever don't have a thrust and you're trying to escape, like, you have a camo or something, you're trying to get away quickly and you burn your thrust already, it's just something to know, right? Like, if you hit that slide, that's the difference between you staying alive and getting out of that situation and not, right? I don't know if there's anything else to cover, unless there's some crazy jumps. Like, I know there's a jump up here. There's jumps up here. I got a nade spring jump, right? Apparently there's a nade assisted spring thrust, which is, like, very difficult to do, but it'll get you inside there, and you can sit up there, which, I mean, holy shit, right? Yeah, you need some crazy timing. You need to spring jump as the nade blows up, which I'm not even gonna try to hit it here. It's not gonna happen live, that's for sure. Oh, is it like an outplay using the wall, right? Do you have a jump up to the top of the map like I was showing? Ooh, okay. That's kind of cool. So you get a little bit higher. Are you gonna make a play with it? Do you need the ground pound for that? For that, like, little extra thing you did? Was there more? My bad if I cut it off and there was more. And then you want to... You can crouch jump into it, eh? Me attempting jumps in front of you guys. It's not a good look. Yes, we did it. Okay, kind of cool. I don't know, like how I would. Oh, shimmy. Yeah, you don't even need to. You don't need to do anything. You just move and you get around. Yo, this is actually like kind of cool though, because if you connect this and somebody's like flying up into the window, I can see them as they clamber, or if they're wrapping around the corner. Like, I don't know if they would check here immediately, to be honest. You can make a play with this for sure. It's a little nutty, but you know, you could probably make a play with this, and you can do it backwards too. Just sitting here waiting for the camera. Cheeky. I like it. What else you got?